Look at your hands for a second. Not metaphorically, literally. Look at them. Look at your calendar. Look at the dark circles under your eyes this morning. You're exhausted. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack ambition, but because you've been pouring your life force into something that doesn't love you back. And yet, after all that effort, after all those long days and late nights, you are standing in almost the exact same place you were a year ago. That's not an accident. That's the first clue. Because from the moment you were old enough to understand praise and shame, you were fed a beautiful lie, a noble lie, a poisonous one. They told you that if you just kept your head down, if you just worked harder than everyone else, if you just sacrificed a little more, the world would eventually notice and reward you. That crown never comes, and deep down, you already know it. The world does not reward the man who carries the heaviest stones. It rewards the man who owns the quarry. History makes this painfully clear. The hardest workers humanity has ever produced were not kings, generals, or tycoons. They were slaves. They were the anonymous men who built railroads across continents, who poured concrete under scorching suns, who died nameless so someone else's name could be engraved on a plaque. Right now, if you're not careful, you are building a monument to someone else's vision with your own energy. You feel the anger creeping in when you hear that. Good. That anger is clarity waking up. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something most people never grasp. Power is not generated by friction, it is generated by leverage. He warned rulers that exhausting themselves made them weak, predictable, and manipulable. A prince who is always busy, always reacting, always rushing, is a prince who has already lost control. The same applies to you. Society has convinced you that your energy is cheap, that it's renewable, that you should give it freely to your job, your hustle, your obligations, your endless to-do lists. Leave it all on the field, they say. But ask yourself one uncomfortable question. Who owns the field? Because when you leave everything there, you go home empty, with nothing left to think, nothing left to plan, nothing left to observe. A tired man doesn't question the game. A tired population doesn't ask, who sets the rules? This is not theory, it's design. In modern America, the most powerful people are rarely the most exhausted ones. Think about it. The hedge fund manager who controls billions doesn't rush through airports carrying his own bags. The private equity partner doesn't panic over emails at midnight. They move slowly, they speak calmly, they have margin. Leisure to them isn't laziness, it's a weapon. It's in quiet, unscheduled time. That strategy is born. When you're grinding non-stop, your head is down. You're staring at the dirt. You can't see the knife coming. You can't see the opportunity forming 2 steps to your left. The hustle culture you see glorified online is not inspiration, it's propaganda. It's the modern version of the arena, where gladiators convince each other that dying for the crowd is honorable, while the emperor watches comfortably from above. Machiavelli would have recognized this instantly. He warned that systems love martyrs because martyrs don't resist. They burn themselves out willingly, and once they're gone, they're replaced without ceremony. If you drop dead at your desk tomorrow, your position would be posted before your obituary was finished. The machinery does not mourn the cog. Here's where it gets darker. The more competent you are, the more trapped you become. If you prove you can carry weight, the world doesn't thank you, it adds more weight. This is why the most reliable person in the room always ends up overwhelmed. You become the silent solution to everyone else's incompetence. Machiavelli advised rulers to let others handle the unpopular, exhausting tasks, not out of cruelty, but out of efficiency. If you do everything yourself, you signal that you can be used, and used people are never powerful. Look at modern corporate America. The employee who answers emails instantly, stays late without being asked, fixes everyone's problems, is praised publicly, but promoted slowly, if at all. Meanwhile, the person who controls budgets, relationships, and narratives advances with half the visible effort. The system rewards control, not sacrifice. Pain is not a credential. Suffering is not a currency. You cannot deposit burnout at the bank and expect interest. Your value does not come from how much you endure. It comes from what you influence. This is why you feel guilty when you rest, why sitting still on a Sunday feels wrong. You've been trained to equate suffering with virtue, to believe that if it hurts it must be meaningful. Machiavelli saw this mindset centuries ago. He recognized it as slave morality, a belief system that keeps ambitious men obedient by tying their identity to struggle. The elite never bragged about hours worked. They bragged about patronage, alliances, signatures that moved armies and markets. Before we go further, pause here. This part isn't about quitting tomorrow or rebelling dramatically. It's about waking up, about seeing that your energy is being spent without return. If this is hitting close to home, comment one simple word that locks this in. Comment leverage. And if you're starting to see the pattern, subscribe and join a growing community of men who are done confusing exhaustion with progress. Because once you see the lie, you can't unsee it. And in the next part, we're going to talk about why being good at everything is often the fastest way to stay powerless. Competence as a trap and the rise of the fox. Now let's go deeper, because this is where most men get stuck. Without realizing it, you've been told your whole life that competence is safety, that if you're reliable, skilled, and indispensable, you'll be protected. The truth is colder. Competence without leverage is a cage. If you are too good at the dirty work, you will never be allowed to stop doing it. The world doesn't reward the man who solves problems quietly. It buries him under more problems and calls it trust. Watch how this plays out in real life, in offices, in families, in businesses. The same person always picks up the slack, always fixes the mess, always stays late. And everyone learns something dangerous about him. He can take it, so they give him more. This is not malice, this is gravity. Machiavelli warned that men are judged less by intention than by usefulness. If why? Oh, make yourself endlessly useful. At the wrong level, you become a tool, and tools are not promoted, they are used. You've felt this even if you haven't named it. You say yes when you should say nothing. You take on responsibilities that don't move you closer to power because you want to be seen as dependable, as good, as honorable. But honor without position is charity given to the system. Machiavelli advised princes to let others perform the unpopular tasks. So resentment attaches to them, not to the ruler. People misread this as cruelty. It isn't. It's efficiency and self-preservation. If you carry everyone else's burden, you forfeit the right to choose your own direction. This is where the idea of strategic incompetence enters, and it makes people uncomfortable. There are skills you should not master. There are tasks you should not excel at, because once you do, they become your permanent assignment. If you're the best at fixing operational chaos, you'll never be invited into strategic rooms. If you're the best emotional stabilizer, you'll spend your life absorbing other people's dysfunction. The fastest typist doesn't own the company. The fastest responder doesn't control the calendar. Control belongs to the one who decides what matters. This is why silence is such a powerful weapon. When a new burden is thrown into the room, notice who speaks first. It's almost always the anxious ones. The people who need approval. The people who are afraid of being seen as lazy. Stay quiet. Let the weight land elsewhere. Machiavelli understood that absence creates pressure. Presence diffuses it. If you are always available, you are predictable, and predictability, thank you, is weakness. This brings us to his most famous metaphor, the lion and the fox. The lion represents strength, courage, effort, and force. The lion fights openly. It roars, it bleeds. Hard work lives here. The fox is different. The fox is not strong. It does not fight wolves head-on. But the fox sees the traps. It understands the terrain. It moves sideways instead of forward. Machiavelli was clear, a ruler must be both. But if forced to choose, the fox survives longer. Hard work is lion behavior. It tries to solve every problem with effort, more hours, more pressure, more sacrifice. It assumes the wall will eventually break if you run at it hard enough. The fox doesn't hit the wall. The fox finds the door, or better yet, convinces someone else to open it. This is how the world actually works. Output does not equal outcome. That belief is the scam. Look at modern examples. A junior employee works 80 hours a week, hoping for promotion. A senior operator makes one phone call to the right investor and secures funding that changes his entire trajectory. Same industry, same economy, radically different leverage. One unit of effort placed correctly can outperform 100 units placed blindly. This is what leverage is, the separation of effort from reward. As long as your income depends on your physical presence and your physical pain, you are selling yourself cheaply. Machiavelli would call this dependence dangerous. If your body breaks, your income breaks. If you stop, everything stops. That's not power, that's servitude with benefits. Power is when the system continues to function without you constantly pushing it forward. So why do so? Many intelligent men cling to busyness because stillness is terrifying. When you stop moving, you are forced to think, to feel, to look honestly at your life and ask whether all this effort is actually going somewhere. Busyness is a drug. It numbs that question. I'm slammed. I'm drowning. We say these things with a strange pride, as if being needed equals being important. But being needed is not the same as being powerful. The janitor is needed. The server is needed. The owner is optional, and that's the point. Machiavelli himself learned this the hard way. When he was exiled, stripped of status and removed from political life, he was forced into stillness. No meetings, no tasks, no urgency. In that silence, he read history, he thought, he observed, and he wrote The Prince. His greatest leverage came not from frantic action, but from withdrawal. If he had spent those years trying to prove his worth through labor, we wouldn't know his name. You are not lazy for wanting less motion and more control. You are waking up. Before we move on, lock this lesson in. Comment one word that captures it for you. Comment Fox, because in the next part, we're going to talk about the difference between the man who builds all his life and the man whose name ends up on the building. Stillness, architecture, and the blueprint mindset. Here is where the illusion finally breaks. Because once you see that effort is not the same as power, you're forced to confront a harder question. If grinding isn't the path, then what is? And this is where most men panic. Because the answer isn't more action, it's less noise, less motion, less identity tied to labor. Machiavelli learned this lesson in exile, not in triumph. When he was stripped of office, tortured, and sent back to his farm outside Florence. He wasn't busy in the modern sense. No calendar packed with meetings, no performance metrics. He spent his days reading history, studying human nature, and thinking. In that stillness, he produced ideas that outlived kings. Stillness didn't weaken him, it sharpened him. Modern men hate this idea because stillness feels like falling behind. But look closely at how real power is created. A sniper fires one shot. A machine gun sprays thousands. Which one changes the outcome? Precision beats volume every time. Strategy beats stamina. When you are constantly busy, you mistake motion for progress. You confuse activity with advancement. The system encourages this because busy people don't redesign their lives, they just maintain them. Picture a skyscraper rising over a city. Hundreds of men are hanging from steel beams, welding, riveting, sweating, risking their lives. They are working hard, they are exhausted. Somewhere else, maybe blocks away, maybe states away, One man is sitting with a blueprint. He's not bleeding. He's not rushing. He's holding a pen. The builders are paid by the hour. When the building is done, they're dismissed. The architect is paid by the value of the structure. His name goes on the plaque. This isn't a metaphor. This is how the world actually distributes reward. The great lie is that if you carry enough bricks, long enough, someone will eventually hand you the blueprint. They won't. Carrying bricks and designing cities are different categories entirely. They require different identities, different skills, different relationships to time. The architect doesn't take pride in how heavy the brick is. He cares about the design. And this is where the question turns inward. What is the design of your life? Are you laying bricks someone else handed you? Or are you quietly drafting your own structure? Most people are living on default settings, scripts inherited from parents, teachers, culture. Go to school, get a job, be grateful, don't ask too many questions, retire quietly. Machiavelli would call this dangerous. He understood that men who do not choose their path will always serve someone else's. The architect questions everything. Why are we building this wall? Who benefits from it? Does it need to exist at all? Machiavelli teaches that people are materials. Events are materials. Even emotions are materials. The strategist doesn't complain about chaos. He arranges it. He takes what already exists and reorders it to his advantage. This is the difference between the man who breaks his back lifting weight and the man who installs a crane. The crane doesn't make you stronger. It makes strength irrelevant. Think about modern leverage, technology, capital, networks, specific knowledge. A single line of code can outperform 1,000 laborers. A single distribution channel can outperform a decade of grinding. A single relationship can open doors that effort never will. This is why the elite obsess over positioning. Instead of productivity, they don't ask, how hard am I working? They ask, where am I placed? Here's a dark truth. Most people resist. We do not value what is given freely. If you are always available, always responsive, always eager, your value drops. Inflation applies to human effort too. When there is too much supply, the price collapses. Machiavelli advised rulers to distribute favors slowly, so they would be felt more deeply. The same applies to you. Withhold your availability, withhold your immediate reaction, withhold your full effort, until the moment it creates maximum impact. Watch what happens when you do. The person who used to stay late every night suddenly leaves at 5 without explanation. The room notices. Questions start forming. Has he checked out? Is he planning something? Suddenly attention shifts toward him. Absence creates gravity. Constant presence creates invisibility. Hard work makes you blend into the background. Strategic restraint makes people remember you. This is the principle you must internalize. Never show your full capacity. If you reveal everything you can do, it becomes the baseline expectation, and the baseline always rises. Machiavelli warned against revealing full strength, not because strength is bad, but because reserves are power. A dam generates electricity precisely because it holds the water back. Release everything at once, and all you have is a flood that destroys and disappears. This is not laziness. It's containment. It's discipline. It's understanding that your energy must be stored, directed, and released deliberately. Before we move to the final part, pause here. Reflect. Are you a builder, or are you still becoming the architect? Comment one word that capped to. Res where you are right now. Comment blueprint. Because in the final part, we're going to talk about how to exit the cage quietly, without drama, and claim sovereignty, without asking permission. Sovereignty withdrawal and the long game. This is the final chain most men refuse to break. Not because they can't, but because their pride won't let them. You've been taught to wear your struggle like a badge of honor, to look at ease with suspicion, to sneer at anyone who seems to win without bleeding. You tell yourself they're soft, lucky, unworthy. This judgment feels good because it protects your ego from a painful truth. They are winning and you are tired. Machiavelli would recognize this instantly. He warned that men cling to moral superiority. When they lack position, it's a consolation prize. The elite don't hear your judgments. They don't feel your contempt. While you're criticizing, they're acquiring assets, buying influence, and consolidating power. Your pride is heavy. It slows you down. Admit something quietly, just to yourself. You want an easier life. You want control over your time. You want resources that don't require you to destroy your body to earn them. There is no shame in this. Nature itself follows the path of least resistance. Water flows downhill. Electricity takes the shortest route. Machiavelli was a realist. He didn't ask how the world should work. He studied how it does. And the world as it is rewards leverage, timing, and perception. It punishes blind obedience and excessive labor. You can argue with that reality, or you can adapt to it. The game doesn't care about your feelings. The scoreboard doesn't measure sweat. It only records outcomes. So, how do you escape without being reckless? You don't quit dramatically. You don't burn bridges. That's the lion acting without the fox. You escape by shifting allegiance. Right now, your loyalty is to the system, to the employer, to the image of the good worker. You change that quietly. You become a double agent. You still show up. You still perform what is required. But emotionally, you are gone. You stop volunteering for exhaustion. You conserve energy. You observe. You study how power actually moves inside the organization. Who decides? Who influences? Where does money really flow? Every day you remain inside the system, you are being paid to learn. If you're just working, you are missing the opportunity. You should be stealing blueprints. How are customers acquired? How is perception shaped? Where are the margins? This is how many modern elites started, not with rebellion, but with observation. They used the system as a classroom, not a prison. And in the hours you reclaim, by no longer proving your worth through burnout, you build your exit quietly, in the dark. Maybe it's an investment vehicle, maybe it's a niche business, maybe it's a network of allies who control access. The form doesn't matter as much as the function. You are building leverage that does not depend on your presence. When the ladder is finished, you don't ask permission to leave, you simply climb. This is the Machiavellian transition. No speeches, no drama, no emotional closure, just a shift from servant to sovereign. Understand this. The hard work scam feeds on impatience. It gives you small rewards quickly. A paycheck every 2 weeks. A comp lent from a manager. Just enough to keep you compliant. The strategist plays a longer game. He is willing to look unremarkable in the short term, to become unignorable in the long term. Can you handle that? Can you tolerate silence while others receive applause? Most can't. That's why they run back to the cage. The cage has structure. The cage has company. The cage feels safe. The wild is empty, cold, uncertain, but the wild is where freedom lives. You've been aiming at the wrong target your entire life. You thought the goal was success through effort. The real target is sovereignty through leverage. Hard work is not evil. It's a tool, a hammer. You use it when a nail needs to be driven, and then you put it down. If you carry the hammer everywhere, you don't look strong, you look lost. Put it down. Look at the blueprint. The world is changing faster than most people realize. The era of the loyal worker is ending. Machines and AI will outperform brute effort. The future belongs to those who can think clearly, position themselves intelligently, and direct energy, rather than supply it. You are awake now. You see the strings, you feel the anger. Don't waste it screaming. Use it coldly, let it drive you to study, to plan, to build. You are done being a beast of burden. But understand this warning. The moment you step back to think, the system will push back. It will call you lazy, ungrateful, disloyal. That pressure is the final test. If you can stand in stillness, without folding, you will see paths others can't. Paths that are never taught in school, paths that remain hidden. Because if everyone walked them, the hierarchy would collapse. If This series sharpened your perception, subscribe and join a growing community of men who are done trading their lives for approval and are learning to think like architects instead of laborers. And before you go, anchor this lesson. Comment one simple word that reflects your commitment to the long game. Comment sovereignty. Most won't, that's the point.